Hey guys, Heidi Easley here, Texas Art and Soul, and I teach women how to make money teaching paint parties online, in person, and with art kits. And today I'm going to be showing you from start to finish how to do a winter gnome. Okay, so how many of y'all, let me know if you are excited about this, if you want to watch from start to finish. And then also I will be giving away one of these today. So if you're interested, make sure you are commenting and saying hi, all those great things. We like to go back through and help kind of pick one out. So let's go ahead and get you to where y'all can see this more than you can see me. G says, woot woot. Well, glad you're here, Jean. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to create kind of a scene, a winter scene in the background. And then from the winter scene, I'm going to hopefully, again, this is a painting that I'm kind of making up as I go. So I'm hoping that y'all can show me some grace. Is everybody willing to show me some grace through this? We're hoping. And this is on a 16 by 20. And so as you come on, if you are interested in the tracer for this, just comment, yes, I want the tracer. You may not be ready to comment yet because you don't know if you're going to like it yet or not. But if you're, betting on me, hoping that it's going to turn out cute and you want the tracer, go ahead and just comment, yes, I want the tracer. So for all of y'all watching on YouTube, I just want to say hello and thank you. And for all of y'all watching on Facebook, let me know, say hi, and let me know where you're watching from. Okay, so first I'm just kind of getting a background, and I'm going to start adding in some blues. So the way y'all are looking at it is I'm actually painting sideways. Oh, thank you, Melissa. She said, you don't need grace. We love you. Thank you for saying that. Sometimes I feel like I need grace, especially when I am creating something in front of y'all when I don't really know for sure what it's going to look like. So I appreciate the grace so much. Hey, Teresa. Hey, Regina. Oh, yes, of course. I'd love the tracer. Everything you do is fantastic. Oh, thank you. Y'all are being very nice to me, and I just love that. Thank you so much. Yes, so if you want the tracer, just put yes, I want the tracer, and then what we'll do is we'll come back and we'll give you a link later for the tracer. So if you're watching this already and you have it, then you should have it already. Okay, so while I'm painting this, what I'm doing is I'm using grays. I'm using some blues. I'm actually going to put these out. This is a turquoise metallic, a matte metallic. I'm using white. I'm using just a gray. It's called slate gray, if you want to know the exact specifics. And then I grabbed a desert turquoise, okay? So as you can see, I'm just reusing some basically little, I don't know if that was cat food holders or I don't have a cat. And somebody had given me those, so I don't know what they are really. But I'm just kind of getting in a winter blue sky. So I want the sky to have grays and winter blues because I want this whole thing to not be winter blues, but you know what I mean. Winterish. Winterish. Let's see. Oh, good. Yeah, thank y'all for being here. If y'all don't mind, let me know. I would love to know where you're from, but I would love to know even more if you have already started decorating for Christmas. That's what I would love to know even more. And if it's past Christmas and you're watching this, let me know if you still have your Christmas stuff up. Let me know that too. That would be pretty fun to know. Okay, so here's my horizon line. And I'm going to put in a little bit more of the blues. And then we're going to add in some trees. And I know I promised y'all a gnome. The gnome is coming. All right, gnome is on its way. I just want to make sure to get the sky kind of going. And I need some white in here. A little bit more white. Kind of just lighten it up. All I'm doing is basically a figure 8 just to get some different details on here. Oh, Teresa's decorating this weekend. Oh, first time watcher we have. Let's see, Mabel from Texas, first time watcher. Awesome. Yay. Oh my gosh, how many of y'all on here are first time watchers? Thank y'all for being here. And I love going back and looking at y'all's comments. So even if I miss one and I don't respond to it, don't worry. I always try to go back and look at it. Okay, so we kind of have some hairs in here because I use these cheaper brushes. So, and again, those of y'all that like to comment and stuff, we're going to give one of these away, an Archon mount ring light. Remember, if you haven't ordered your Archon mount, you can use Texas Heidi to get 20% off. So don't forget that. Okay, so now I'm going to add in some whites here. So I'm going to put this brush down, and I'm just going to get mostly, actually, I'm going to leave the white here. No, I'm not. I'm going to add in, I'm actually going to do a similar mixture down here, and then I'm going to add the snow in on top. The reason why is I just want it to have some depth to it. So I'm just going to use what I have in here. I know right now it's looking like an ocean, so ignore that. Ignore the ocean look. It will turn out more like a snowy field in a minute, I promise. But I just want some more depth to the painting. And for those of y'all that are new to painting, a lot of times we especially when we're first starting, we just like, if something's red, we paint it red. If something's blue, we paint it blue. But what we forget sometimes is how we can add this depth to it. So even though I will cover a lot of this with white, it will still have this kind of really cool depth, okay? All right, so Lori, I am using mostly, actually all either Americana Deco Art paints and metallic paints, all of that good stuff. Oh, good. Y'all love gnomes. Okay, good, because we are about to add a gnome in here in just a few minutes. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to get the placement of my trees. So this winter gnome needs some trees. So let me go ahead and grab the colors I want to use. So I'm going to use Deco Art Traditions. This is a green yellow. And guys, I cannot pronounce the way this says. I always say it wrong, so I'm not even going to embarrass myself. One time, it was my second year teaching art, and maybe this is why I have kind of a bad taste in my mouth about it. But she, one of the other teachers got on to me because I didn't know what chartreuse meant. And she's like, how do you not know what chartreuse means? And she was kind of mean about it. And I was like, my degree is in communication. My degree is not in art. And I'm sorry, I did not know there was a color. I didn't even know that was a color. Like, anybody else know what chartreuse was? I did not know what it meant. And so she made me feel really dumb. And so I was just kind of like, oh, it's okay not to know everything, right? Like, can't you, continue? Aren't we in a world where we continually learn? Like, isn't that the great thing about being on this earth? Is you continually learn. It's not like I know it all immediately. And I am going to be one of the first people to tell you that I don't know it all. I promise you, I am learning every day. I feel like if you're not trying to learn every day, then you're missing out. So I'm going to get the placement of my trees. I'm just using some, somebody put the pronunciation out. She says the Hilo green. I'll never forget that color because in art school, my painting professor, Carrie James Marshall, the halo, is that how you say it? The halo. Huh, thank you very much. Yeah, I think it's okay not to know everything, right? I mean, and if you feel like you know everything, I strongly advise you to go read a new book because you'll learn some new stuff. Okay, so I'm going to just start adding in some trees. And then I'm going to kind of use the technique I did yesterday where I just kind of, get the trees in here. Because I'm going to have some little trees in here, almost Bob Ross style. And then I wanted to kind of make a little river kind of coming through. I don't know why I'm kind of like Bob Ross inspired lately. But, you know, it's fun to try new things, right? So I'm just going to kind of make that. I know water is, you know, not really exactly that, but. Okay. All right, so I'm just adding in some more trees here. And then I'm going to leave some room for my gnome because this is what we're here for, right? Our winter gnome. And then what I'm going to do is switch to one of these brushes. And those of y'all that are showing up that want to, oh, good. Yeah, Kim says, yes, we are always learning. And Doreen says, if we knew everything, how would we learn something new each day? I know. You would be surprised at how many people out there pretend they know it all. I'm like, that will never be me. I will never be the person that's like, yep, I've learned it all. I'm good to go. Nope, that will never be me. So what I want you to do now, and again, if you want the tracer for the gnome, go ahead and put yes, tracer. Yes, I want the tracer, and then we'll come back and add the comment in. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use this to add in, and some of y'all may be freaking out, like, why is she doing, why is she making the Christmas tree solid black? But you'll see here in a minute. So I'm going to add in just with a very cheap type of thing here, and then I'm just going to just dab it, right? So I'm just kind of dabbing. And this is just a cheap brush you can get from Michael's. But what I love about these brushes is that they almost make the tree for you, which is really cool. Okay. So, oh, good. We have a lot of people wanting the tracer. Good. We'll get that to you as soon as possible. We'll just, if you've commented, we'll go back and we'll give you the link. We'll reply to your comment. So thank you so much for posting that. And then we'll make sure to get it to you. But the reason we don't, you know, the tracer, I got to create it, right? I got to paint it. Once I paint it, then I can make a tracer of it. Okay, so I'm adding this in. And then just kind of bringing this down. This is going to be one of our trees. And what I like to do is get the color on first, and then I'll go back, just get some of, I'm going to use a little bit smaller brush for these littler trees. And then what I like to do is go back, and then I can add, actually, let me see. I think this might be better to use this. Yeah, it is. It gives it more of a tree look. So this is just a 1-inch you can get from Michael's. You can probably get from the well, actually, I've tried some of the brushes from the dollar store. Some are okay. Some are more like this, which I hate. Oh my gosh. See if they have a brush they hate. Like this one does not do the correct thing. Oh, makes me so frustrated. So so be careful. These from Lowe's or Michael's are they're really good for big paintings. And again, this is a 16 by 20. So I'm just trying to get the place down. I'm going to put the gnome kind of in the middle. But these are just little trees around it. Okay. So we have this going on here. I'm going to go ahead and rinse these brushes. Hey guys. Oh, Sharon's excited about the gnome. Oh, Kim says your painting style changes so much. Love it. You know, I have been praying so hard this year because sometimes as an artist, it's almost like writer's block. Sometimes you feel like you're going to, you know, you're going to like run out of inspiration, you know? And I think sometimes like I get really, really scared as an artist that, you know, I'm not going to be able to grow, or I'm not going to be able to, I mean, I don't know if does anybody else ever have that fear as an artist or a creative where you feel like, you know, what if this is all I can do? And I remember, so this year I've really been praying hard for God to just keep bringing me new inspiration, to keep bringing me new stuff, because as you know, for Paint Party headquarters, you know, my whole goal is to just keep helping bring them the greatest stuff so that they can teach paint parties and make money and all of that good stuff. And so my goal has been really strongly praying, like, God, please keep bringing me inspiration, because I get scared. I get scared that I'm going to like not have, you know, a new painting or not have something that's really great. And several years ago, I was in probably my early 20s. I remember I met this artist, and she was in her 60s, and she was showing me some of her art, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, you are so talented. And I said, man, I wish I was that talented. And she told me, and I'll never forget it. She said, well, just think, if you keep painting, just think how talented you're going to be when you're my age, if you keep practicing. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is so true. Like, it just really like hit me. It hit me like, oh my gosh, I can keep practicing and get better. Like, sometimes I think we think, oh, this is the talent we've been given and that's all it is. No, you can actually like grow and get better and better. And so it's just kind of like put me on this quest. And then this year, especially this past year, I've just been like really praying for God to keep bringing inspiration, to keep like helping push me to be a better artist, to be able to be a better teacher, all of that. So I can just keep, bringing that to y'all and to Paint Pretty headquarters and stuff like that. So yeah, so even if you're brand new to this, don't think, well, I can't ever be, a good artist or a good painter. Like I've never said I was the best painter. I just know that it's definitely what God has given me to use for, creating. And I'm going to use some greens and just add to here. It's definitely been what, God's given me to use for therapy, for helping others, for my paint parties, for all of that. I feel like, we're all given a talent, a skill, something we love and want to do all the time. And this is definitely it for me. I couldn't imagine not being able to get up and paint throughout the week. Like, how many of y'all, by the way, paint weekly? There's some of y'all on here that are painters, where you paint weekly, or maybe you try to paint, once a month at least. I'm just putting some dark green first, and then I'm going to go back and add some different shades. I'm going to make the ones back here lighter, of course, because they're in the background. And then I'm going to add on just the metallic green. And then we're going to, of course, add snow to this whole thing. And don't worry, those of y'all that are interested in the gnome, it's coming. The gnome is coming, but the gnome has to have a place to hang out, right? The gnome has a place to hang out. So we're putting the place for him to hang out first, and then we're going to add the gnome on top. And you can just barely put your brush towards the sides to give it that more tree look. Okay, so let me go back to my smaller brush. Oh, that's awesome. Jennifer's painting almost every day. Good job. Congrats, Jennifer. Let's see. Lori is. That's amazing. Doreen's painting weekly. So cool. Doreen says, I have all the colors available because of metallic, because of you, Heidi. Yeah, it's weird. When I was teaching my very first year of teaching art, don't worry, I went back and got my teaching certification. So they did have a art teacher that was certified. Don't worry. I know I don't have my art degree, but I have my art certification to teach. One of the middle school girls I was teaching, my first year teaching was 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. One of the middle school girls had one of these projects we had to do, and she did it all in metallics. And I was like, what is this? Like, I had never known metallic paint. I'm just using this with white. I had never known metallic paint before. And I was like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And so she actually introduced it to me, one of my students, and I was so excited. So then from then on, I have used metallic paints. Okay, so see how this kind of has, remember we did the grayish blue below? It's just to give it some depth, so it's not just pure white. And then I'm just dabbing it on. I'm going to come back with some of those trees and make them go over a little bit. And when you're painting where stuff is still wet, you have to be a little careful, okay? you have to be a little careful because when you're painting with stuff that's still wet, you want to make sure you have that. And I'm painting this whole thing sideways, so I'm hoping it's turning out okay the way it's looking at y'all. Usually at paint parties, I paint upside down because you're like standing and you're holding it. A lot of times I'll paint upside down or I'll paint sideways. So sometimes when I go to look at it, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I need to turn that and face the right way. Okay, so I have that there, a little bit of snow. Okay, so we'll add snow to the trees when they dry a little bit more. I'm going to add a little bit of black to this and make it just a little bit of a gray. Oh, Arlene says paint someday, every day in some way. Jerry says, thank you. I'm 69 years old and have been painting about 2 months. It brings me lots of joy and I'm enjoying learning the process and less frustrated with what I don't think I can do. Wow, that is amazing. Yeah, it's so important that we find something that like brings us joy. We have to, you know, like we have to find something that brings us joy. Something that we can do. Like even just right here painting with y'all, even though like, you know, I can talk to you, just, you know, having that, like knowing that y'all are here and painting, you know, maybe you're going to paint this and I'll be able to see it one day, what you come up with. Like that just brings me so much joy too. Okay, so we have those a little bit lighter. Now I'm going to rinse this. And I'm just going to add in with just a little bit of the 1-inch flat brush. Just a little bit of a horizontal zigzag-ish to make it look like water. Okay. All right, and those of y'all that are just joining, if you want the tracer of the gnome I'm about to do, go ahead and just put I want the tracer, and then we'll come back in a little bit, and we will probably just put in the link where you can get the tracer. Okay, so I need to let this dry a minute. I'm going to attempt to put some white on top of these trees, even though it's a little wet. I'm going to just put a little bit to see if it's going to work yet. So it's definitely mixing my green. It might be okay. We'll see. I might have to go back over it a little bit more when it gets a little bit less wet, and then I'll add some more pure snow to it. Is it looking like snow from that section? From where you're at? I have some blues mixed in. This is a lot of mixing. A lot of mixed colors here. Okay. All right, so what's that at? Okay, good. Yeah, just put I want the tracer. If you want the tracer, then we'll come back and we'll add it. And those of y'all that are commenting, thank you. We're going to pick one person later to give the Archon mount ring light to. It's a small ring light for your phone. So those of you that are interested in learning more about shooting videos like this or doing something fun like this online, it's a lot of fun. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick look at it from this side. Okay, it's not bad. All right. Okay. Now I'm going to start my gnome. I'm going to draw a gnome sideways. Okay. So we are going to see if this works out. So I have never painted, I've painted a gnome sideways. I've never drawn one sideways. So if y'all can give me some grace as I paint this little sucker sideways. I'm going to try to make him, he's going to be a little oversized because I want it to show. So it'll be a little oversized, but again, just bear with me because I'm hopeful he turns out cute. But again, like I said, this is a real life side painting here that I'm trying out. Okay. I'm going to actually put a little black in here so I can see it with the snow. So we're painting on top. Little boots. We need some little boots, right? Can y'all tell I'm concentrating? I'm all quiet. Yeah, Jennifer, it is. It is amazing how popular gnomes have been. I don't know if it's because they're just cute or they're just fun to paint, because it's really just a few lines, which of course I'll give y'all the tracer for this if you're wanting it after this is over. Just make sure to put, yes, I want the tracer. And then the thing about painting, especially for a few of y'all that I heard that was new to painting, remember it's all about like layer. Did I make him too sideways? He's kind of leaning in, isn't he? It's all about like layers. So don't judge your painting until it's all the way done. And even then I would be careful, because you're going to see even this background is going to change here in a minute. So so I'd be really careful not to judge your art, your painting, until it's all the way done. And even then it's okay. I'm going to use a Tuscan red. It's one of my favorite reds for this time of year. Even then you want to be very careful, because there's lots of paintings that I won't show anybody. I mean, even doing this, like, I'm getting braver because I'm just, sometimes just going for it, and it could, turn out to be awful. But I'm more confident in my painting, where I know even if I don't love it, I can change it. And that's one of the beauties about painting, is that it is all about practice, and it's about, getting better and doing tutorials and learning, because the more you start to learn, the more you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Or, as an artist, you can do pretty much whatever you want. It's really what makes you happy. If you're doing it for a paint party business or, art kits or stuff online, then of course you want to be thinking more commercial. Like, what are people buying? What people think, stuff like that. Because then you want stuff more that people are going to actually want to paint. So right now I'm booking some paint parties, and, I love painting very whimsical and very, like, my style is very whimsical. But not everybody loves that, it's not for everybody. So I have to remember, like, okay, I have to have different options. I have to have different styles. I have to have more marketable styles. Because again, when you're doing a business with this, it has to be commercial. Okay, so I'm taking the white, but I had a little black from these pieces right here. So see how they're bringing in, and they're just literally starting to make the beard for me without me or even having to mix up any paint. Just making the beard happen. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to have this part of his hat. So I'm going to keep it. I'm going to probably keep it. Let's see. I don't want to do pink. Maybe black. What do y'all think? Should I do this part of the hat? I'm afraid if I do white, it's going to look too much Christmassy. Do y'all think I should do, let me change my charger out. Hold on. My phone's going to die. Do y'all think I should do this part black or keep it red? And again, this is part of the hat. Okay, this is not a ski mask. I'm gonna mix a little pink for his nose. And thank y'all so much for watching and commenting, and those of y'all sharing. All of that really, really helps. And I just want to say a huge thank you for that. It means a lot to me that you're here, that you're watching, that you're commenting. I just really appreciate y'all. Okay, so we have black, 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 gray. Oh yeah, gray might work too. Black, awesome. Okay, we'll go for a black, which is I'll do black first, and then if it needs to be mixed down to gray, I can add it. So I'm going to go over his nose just a little bit. And I'm using my pinky to hold my hands steady. Okay. Let me add back in a little bit of his nose. Oh yes, silver would be good too. Silver would be a great color too for this. Okay, so let me add back a little bit of his nose. Okay, and then now I'm gonna come back to the gnome, but before I do, I'm gonna add some snow in the sky because we know it needs some snow dots. And let's go ahead and do this size. I'm gonna use the 1-inch brush, the background of it, and then see how the background kind of has not a boring look, but now with the snow, it's gonna start to all pop. It's going to all start to kind of come together. And then when we add the details of more snow on the trees, a few little highlights and things like that on the gnome, it should all start to come together. And this part's super fun. If you have not added snow to a painting, it's really, really fun and easy. Super easy. I try to add it all the way onto the trees. And this is where you can get kind of crazy and just keep going. I'm going to switch to a smaller brush so I can get smaller dots. So I'm going to go here. Yes, Beth, adds dimension. Yeah, we want to just have all kinds of stuff. We'll actually add a few to the gnome. Add in some little ones. You could get real fancy and decorate this Christmas tree. There's all kinds of stuff you could do. Wouldn't that be fun to string up lights? But I want to keep it more winter. Okay. All right. So we have some snow. How's the snow looking? Does it need to be more blizzard? Sometimes if your dots feel like they're too close together, just kind of, too perfectly spaced, just every once in a while put one that's real close to another one. So it looks like it's kind of coming down together, you know. It just kind of gives it some stuff. Okay, awesome. Okay, so now we have that. I'm going to go kind of just outline. Let me find some just straight black. I'm going to add some white lines and some outlining, and then I'll add a little bit more. I want to make this really stand out. So his little boots are going to stand out. And then I want his hat. Now this is really wet, so I have to be very careful. And then I'll add to his hat too. And I'm thinking stripes to his hat because there's so many dots already happening in this painting. What do y'all think? Y'all think that's a good choice? And then I'm going to carefully take this, twist it, so I have a good point, because this isn't a really good, I mean, it's a pretty big liner brush. I want to make sure I can circle around his nose. Okay, and then I want to outline his hat. And for those of y'all that are just joining, if you want the stencil tracer of the gnome, go ahead and just put yes, I want the tracer, and we will get it to you. We'll make sure to message. We won't message it. We'll just reply. Oh, thank you, Andrea. Are y'all liking it? Okay, so I'm going to add in some lines here, just some fun kind of, because I'm doing wet paint on wet paint, I have to keep going back. Oh, Kim, she says, thank you, ladies. I prayed a lot for courage and then just jumped. Yeah, how many of y'all out there, like, there's things you want to do in life, like, not even talking about painting, but we get so scared. We, like, by the time we talk ourselves into it, we're already talked ourselves out of it. What I find is that if you just take action through fear as fast as humanly possible, that's when you can make things, like significant things in your life, happen. You know, I spent so much of my life being scared of what other people thought, that I finally got to a point where I was like, wait a minute, I'm going to spend all my time worrying about what other people think that I'm going to regret. I'm going to regret what I wanted to do. And so I finally just got to a point where I was like, people can laugh at me. They can think I'm stupid. They can whatever they want to think, but I'm not going to let the opinions of others dictate how I'm going to live my life. And so, so that has really helped with just, for example, even coming on here live and doing this without having a full-on plan and hoping that he turns out cute. Because it could definitely go south, you know, things like that, you know, if I sit back and I try to design the perfect thing and I you know, take all this time to do something, by the time I've done all that, I might have already, like, number one, lost the energy to even come on here live. But number two, you know, ended up waiting so long that now life got in the way, you know, and now something else is bringing my attention. So I think sometimes we have to jump on opportunities when they're there, and we also have to take action, you know, and a lot of times we just automatically assume that, you know, the opportunities we see right now are always there. And then they're not. And then we're like, oh man, I really wanted to do that, or I really wanted to try that, or, you know, whatever it is. So, I mean, something as simple as, you know, getting this free tracer and painting this painting. You know, yes, you are putting in the comments, I want the tracer. And yes, we will reply and say, here's a free tracer. But, you know, sometimes there's things where, like, just as simple as that, like, we want to do something so bad, but then we let that fear get involved, and then we don't take action, or we don't do it. And I know Mel Robbins, she is so good at talking about, using that 5 seconds of courage to take action. Actually, I'm going to turn this into a heart. Let me see if it'll make a heart. Yeah, I can use it for Valentine's Day too. A winter Valentine's. She's really good about that, take action through fear. And she has that 5 second rule where she do it before your brain starts to try to stop you. And I think I approach life and business like that a lot now, where anybody else like that, you take action so quick that your brain is by the time you've thought it through, it's already happened, and you can't really let the brain take control and give you all the reasons why it won't work and this and that. So some of y'all that are wanting to do something like this, but you're nervous about a Facebook Live. Is there anybody out there that's like that? You're like, yeah, I want to start doing something like this, or paint for people, or grow a business like this, or maybe you're just wanting to step out of your comfort zone and start painting more. But then all of a sudden, your fear gets in the way and it stops you. Well, the main thing that I've learned is, every day is a new day. You just got to get up and try again, and then go for it. And look how that white's adding on there since we let a little bit of it dry. Every day is a new day, and you just got to keep pushing forward. And it's consistency. It's being consistent and showing up, and just, keep moving forward, and don't worry about what other people are saying. If I had a nickel for every person that said something to me about what I was doing with my business and what was happening, it's just insane, how many people's opinions we let dictate what we're going to do. So besides the gnome painting, my tip of the day is take action through fear. All right, guys. I hope that you like this, and I hope that you are going to get the tracer. If you are, just put, I want the tracer. Let me know if you like this. I really want to add some snow text to it. Some snow. I don't know if I have any in here to add, but I'll probably add some snow text and a little bit of glitter. But let me know what you think in the comments. And if you want the tracer, just put, yes, I want the tracer. All right, guys, I hope y'all had fun. I had fun, and y'all have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.